Here we are, Ralphie, bit of Punting Melbourne style this week, and brutal day on Saturday, but we're here to talk about how we get through that and how we go forward, and
That's
a
right.
bit about the track and all that sort of stuff, and then we'll have a bit of a review of the races in part two.
Yeah, so that was Moonee Valley. I suppose most people who tuned into your analysis, which you absolutely nailed. I had a horrible day. Just in a nutshell, did you have a good, bad, or indifferent day?
No, it was a poor day. I mean, so what walking the track does...
No, before you get to that.
Yep.
Just before you get to that. So I've been, in agony, as we do, because we treat our job seriously, and we have some people who buy our stuff, and we really want it to be right for them. It's pretty simple. I've got a couple of kids who've been crook. One's on the way back, and the other one's off, and not badly, but just the lurgy at this time of year. So feeling a bit sorry for myself, Potts. An hour and a half ago, I bumped into someone with a big smile on their face, and they said 5 words. I promise you this. I'm like, Ralphie, how about them demons? Do you know who that someone was?
Who was it?
Neil Danaher.
Oh, there you go.
Do you reckon I'm still feeling sorry for myself?
That's good.
No, exactly.
Fair
So
enough.
we just push on,
Yeah.
and that's what we do. We work our hardest, and we try and get it right, and sometimes we get it wrong. We did.
Yeah.
So how did you approach it, mate?
Well, I mean, as I said, walking the track helps you, gives you an insight to how the track might play.
Yep.
And what part of the field to look in.
Yes.
Okay, now, I think I got that relatively right. I did look in the right part of the field for the races, but...
Sorry, and for those who didn't watch it, how your assessment in a nutshell pre-race?
Well, half a horse off the rail was where the inside lane was.
Yep.
That was the best lane on the course early before because the track did crumble a bit because of the dryness of the track and the verdi draining after the last meeting, right? And then probably 2.5 horses out from that was the second lane, and in between those was pretty good ground.
Yeah.
Now, once you got beyond that, the further out you went, the softer it was,
Yeah.
So
Except
particularly
right
on in the home straight was okay.
Right
In
out,
that, actually, the further wide you went in the home straight, the better it got.
Yes, niminy piminy.
But the problem was on the side of the track, sort of from the school to the Tabaret,
Yep.
the wide lanes there were no good. So if you pulled into those wide lanes, a la the horse that Simon Basta rode from
Stephen Basta. Yeah.
Beluga Blue,
Yep.
Stephen Basta rode, pulling out wide there would cost you 2 or 3 lengths.
Yes.
Which it did to that horse, right? So I'm saying if you were going to pull wide, you had to wait until you were almost around the turn, right? And we saw several horses do that, particularly later in the card. Once they got around the turn, the ground out there was fine. So you can look in the right part of the field for the winners and you do everything right, but at the end of the day, when you've got what that creates is we've got Saturday field sizes, and
Yep.
it's their Saturday field, so they're very competitive. You're cramming too big of fields into too small a space,
Yes.
and that will, in and of itself, create random results, which is what we got on Saturday. Now, my set I actually set out when I review it, I looked through it, and I can actually see how, if you ran those races several times, how we could have won on the day. We were very close in a lot of races, but the results just wouldn't fall our way.
Did you find our Reno?
Yeah.
Now I did. Now, this is where I find it a bit. How do you put this? You have to factor into your long-term results, or if you just look on the day or whatever, fairness. If you found no arena, I found no arena for probably similar reasons. We're looking at the same information. We're not going to look at it a whole lot differently. The horse was agitated. It was taken out of the barriers.
Yep.
And then after the race, it had bad recovery, which probably tells you that its breathing got so stressed that it didn't perform. That doesn't mean we don't know what we're talking about. It doesn't mean we found the wrong horse. It just means that we're betting on animals and things can go wrong.
Absolutely.
That's
just a fact. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching it going, scratch it, please scratch it. I mean, I was on a horse
Exactly.
I think I originally backed it at $6, I think. And there might have been some deductions. I can't actually remember, but I was on at the right odds. And I'm just thinking, take it out. I don't want this horse to run. And, because if you know that horse, she's very highly strung.
Yep.
And she can miss the start anyway. Soon as they put her back in, I just knew she was A, going to miss the start, B, it just was all everything was a disaster.
Yes.
It wasn't going to work. So anyway.
So there's two things on that. We always try and be fair and try and look at both sides of an argument. From the jockey's point of view, if they scratch it, do you know one certainty? One certainty is they're not going to get a collect.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should be asking the jockey if it should run.
Yeah, no.
Because as long as the horse is healthy, so it could be stressed, but it could be healthy, not going to be dangerous to either the animal or the others in the race. the jockey's going to say run it. Remember Smart Missile played up behind the barriers and it was scratched and Glenn Boss threw a tantrum. Well, Bossy's entitled to because he misses out on any chance of winning. But punters who see their horse run round, it leaves such a bitter taste in their mouth. And the secondary point is, if you're going to take a horse out to inspect, as they did, you've got to take into account the stress that's causing the animal. So it's one thing to inspect it if it's bleeding or if it bumped its nose or anything like that. But then surely you've got to give it a chance to even calm down or assess how it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They're all good points, Ralphy.
Straight in.
First of all, they're all got to be loaded. Once they're loaded in the gates, if there's reason to take one out,
yes,
I think it should be automatically scratch that horse.
Yes,
okay, that would be my input on the rule. But once you take it out and you start trotting it up and fooling around with it, all them other horses are in the gates. It's not fair to them, particularly the horse that drew gate 1 that's been in there forever.
Yep.
We take too long to load horses in Australia. When you watch it in comparison to what they do in Hong Kong, when they go in about 10 seconds, they've got that many attendants here, they all just go in at the same time. We take forever here. So one has to come out. I just think, it's no good for that horse, and it's no good for the other horses either.
Yes.
A lot of others get fractious, and so many times you see while that delay is happening, other horses start to play up, then all of a sudden you end up with 3 of them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, look.
So I've got a bit of info as well, because you're saying that the track played as you expected it to play?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is...
So one of the things, I saw your exchange with Sam Tenkard this morning.
I was going to read it out.
On Twitter. Oh, you're going to read it out? Good.
Yeah. So Sam Tenkard works at Moonee Valley.
Yeah, he's one of Marty's assistants.
Yep. And after your... last show, when you gave some insight, he actually gave us a good rap. Wouldn't matter if he didn't, but he did. So I'll read this thread for those who missed it. So I said my theory is Moonee Valley shouldn't race twice in the winter in a row, because 2 years ago they raced okay, and then they either raced I think it was a week later, Sandown might have been able to play, and the track just fell to pieces. Now Marty Simon's a gun, his staff was a gun. That tells you they've been asked to do the impossible because of the unique nature of the Strathayr, which is such a good summer course. Last year they didn't race. This year, first meeting race as expected, even though fence off, but it's all right. Race as expected, we're happy with that. And then it fell to pieces. So then Sam said, in fairness, they think they can, but they left it too dry. My first reaction is, oh, please, not more the overwatering, please. But then he said, too dry is not good. The track can't hold together, creates lanes. Those good firm tracks always have a right level of moisture. As an example, 2 weeks ago, the track was holding 5% more water in profile and raced well, good times. Saturday, dry track, worse than rating, fine line. And then I thought it through further and thought, yes, in the summer they put a heap of water on that track, but the Strathayr surface is so good, and the surface itself, that's one track that can cope with overwatering because it obviously races faster with good moisture in it. Yeah, well, look, the last meeting with the rail true, okay, they'd verti drained it leading into that meeting, like 3 weeks before. Yep. And they had really good rain immediately after the verti draining, okay, and it really knitted together well, and it held up really well at the last meeting, raced well, right? Yeah. This time, so they verti drain, and when they do this verti draining, they're thinking about the meetings coming up in spring, okay? Now, if they were just thinking about the meeting on Saturday, they probably wouldn't have verti drained it. Yes.
Okay, so that's part of the problem. And then the problem was, between verti draining the track immediately after the last meeting and Saturday, there was no rain at all.
Yes, which would be unique.
So it means that the verti drains don't close up and doesn't knit together as well. Yeah. And I made the comment when I walked the track that the track was quite loose, and there was a chance that it'd don't chop out's not the right word, but crumble a bit. Yeah. And the wider lanes would have an opportunity later in the day. Right? Yeah. Now, so what I'm expressing here is how difficult a task this can all be for the track managers, because they're making decisions like whatever it was 2.5 weeks ago, what to verti drain or not to verti drain. Yes. How are they going to know that it's not going to rain at all in almost 3 weeks? You know what I mean? So that was part of the problem. So look, you can talk about these things. The track was fine, but the difficulty that Racing Victoria got to look at with racing at Moonee Valley, particularly in winter, is that they want certain field sizes, and really, once the rail's not true at Moonee Valley, those field sizes are too big for that track. Yes. Particularly if you get the situation like because of the fertiliser tractor, the jockeys are trying to cram into what are 3.5 lanes. Yeah. They're all looking for those lanes. So.
And I first noticed this when I was I emceed the night meetings for about 4 years there. Didn't miss a meeting. Yeah. So what I really look for Well, then at that stage I was only sort of trying to learn the car. Well, we never stopped learning, but I was just starting out. And I was watching Ollie, Dwayne Dunn, Craig Williams, the best, and the proactive best. And what they would do when the track was like Saturday, and it backs up exactly what you said report-wise, is not go out whatsoever until they got to the home turn, then they'd fan out. What they wouldn't do is the normal peel before the turn. And if it came off, they won, and if it didn't come off, so be it. And I would say Amavasha was that type of runner. Because...
And Leodoro, that's exactly what Bay was trying to do.
So let's get to Leodoro, because I want to... It's an interesting question, because you couldn't think any reason, and that's why I like having the argument, because we can do it without losing our house. You couldn't think any reason whatsoever there was anything untoward about the ride, but it was a skill error. The question is, should Bo Mertens be punished for a skill error like that, even if it's only minor, given he admitted it himself? But had he zigged when he should have zagged, he wins the race, surely.
Maybe. I can see exactly what he was trying to do.
Yep.
And he gave the horse a winning chance. Now it just all went wrong at the point where he let Nimini Pimini get outside him.
Yep. It's
pretty much all over. Like unless a gap comes, and it didn't, right?
Yeah.
But you could have won the race that way.
Yes.
I'm saying the alternative of pulling out wider earlier.
Yep.
Like pulling out wide too early, i.e. Stephen Baster on Beluga Blue, gave your horse no chance of winning.
Yes.
So I'm saying that Bo's ride on Leodoro, although it, all went pear-shaped, was a ride that was a better chance of winning, or at least it had a chance of winning, than Stephen Baster's ride on Beluga Blue, which to me lacked preparation. He didn't know that pulling into that ground was going to cost him 3 lengths.
Yes.
And the horse got beat 1.9, so,
And that's one thing that really, and it's my final bit about the Bo Mertens. I don't have problems about Zigwins should have zagged. And we like to be fair. I mean, we like to be brutally honest, but we like to be fair. They are riding animals at 60 k's an hour, and they have to make split-second decisions. We don't shit-can split-second decisions. We shit-can lack of preparation and lack of professionalism. And to me, the Beluga Blue ride lacked it. Now, we're obviously talking through our pockets. Why would we give a shit?
Clearly,
otherwise?
I'm putting my hand up there, talking through everything.
But what we're saying is, and then it was accentuated because they went really fast. On fast ground. At the moment, the Moonee Valley backstraight's really, really fast. But Bo Mertens got rewarded for his dare. And what you're saying, I think, is that it doesn't matter how many times they ran that race on that track on the day, Beluga Blue could not have won.
Not ridden that way.
So
once he got back to last, if he'd have attempted to come through the field, which is what Bo Mertens did on Leodoro, and the gaps had have opened up for Beluga Blue, I'm convinced she would have won the race. I'm just convinced of it.
I remember having a chat with a multiple Group 1 winning jockey a few years back about, I think it was summertime, and he wasn't one of many winners. And he said, it's don't give a fuck season. Now, I'm not suggesting that's Stephen Baster's situation, but what I am saying is that with us as punters, and you showed it through your preparation on the track, is that every time we put our money down, any of us, we're chips in. Even if it's not all our chips, it still chips in. But unfortunately for some of the riders, they give that impression.
We're skin in the game, that's for sure.
Rightly or wrongly, we give that impression that they're happy to just bowl around, and it might win or it might not, but actually, because there's not big money at this time of year, they don't overly care. And it could be a wrong feeling, but it was the feeling that we both had after that race anyway.
Anyway, that'll do us for part 1, Ralphie.